From time to time on this show, it's no secret that I love giving second chances. It's something I've done in my life. It's something I've needed in my
like right now.
In my life, and we've had that happen for 3 or 4 of our guests, and that's the case for this guest. We have another convict. You know, we've had some convicts on the show before. You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
And this is a case of a woman that found herself in an uncomfortable spot, and I'll let her tell the story. She wrote a book about it, and I read the entire book.
Good.
Holly, I'm sorry, I'm not going to say your last name. Pasut, am I saying that right?
No, you're not.
Please
you're
correct me.
off to a great start.
Please correct me.
It's like a Z, but it's pronounced Pasut.
Pasut.
Oh,
okay.
wow. Him and the Z's. Wow.
It's Italian.
Pasut.
It's Italian.
I like that. I can remember that.
Yeah, there you go.
So, Holly, you wrote a book, A Strange Path to Freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was going to read about a woman describing why and how she was part of a mortgage fraud business and went to jail for 18 months. What I found is the book was about your time in jail, and it really was a very interesting read. It was enlightening for a guy like me that wouldn't know. I thought it was really interesting. So it was a different take on the journey that you took.
Right. It wasn't about the case. I was sick of the case, and I was sick of talking about me and the government and the justice system and prosecutors and defense attorneys. I was just sick of the whole case. So I went to prison, just so people understand. There's a difference between jail and prison, and it was a prison camp. It was Alderson Federal Prison Camp in Alderson, West Virginia. And there were no guards, there was no big fence, there was no tower with guns and so forth. So you could basically walk in or out of the prison. It would not be a good idea to do that, but, anyway. So I wrote about I pretend I didn't want to be there, Joe. Can you imagine? I really did not want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So to deal with my own pain, I would kind of detach from my pain, and I would pretend that I was filming a documentary. I know it sounds kind of crazy. I would pretend like my eyes were the lenses of a camera. And I would just kind of hover over the compound and just take it all in. And that way I could remove myself. And so through that observation and what I remembered, that's what inspired me to write the book.
Yeah, and you wrote something in the book that really did touch me. And it's the conversations that happened at a payphone.
Oh, yeah.
And you talk about the fact that all of you women would have these conversations and have to wait and watch each other go through that process. It was interesting to me that if you needed comfort or you needed something after your phone call, there was somebody there to do that.
Right.
And you wrote, maybe we all need to sprinkle a few payphones around town. I felt that was an interesting thing that, I don't think of a woman in prison as somebody I feel sorry for, but I read that and I'm feeling sorry for them,
Yeah, thank you. That was a fun chapter to write called Compassionate Payphones. And like people look around, they go, what is a payphone? Remember? But when we would walk into the range, they were right there on the left side of the wall. And they had small little benches in front of them. And you couldn't just pick up the phone and call. They were only on during certain times of the day. And so when they were on, we would wait in line to make our calls. And I remember sitting there listening to women talk to their young children, and you could hear their voices change, as they're starting to talk. Or maybe their child got an A on the spelling test, or they hit a home run, or whatever. We would sing Happy Birthday. I didn't know who I was singing Happy Birthday to, but it didn't matter. I remember hanging up on the phone when I was there, when I just got there, and I put my head down. And I was just shaking. I was holding back the tears.
I can imagine.
And I leaned over, and a girl looked at me, and she just opened up her arms. I didn't know her, but I just immediately just fell into her arms. And she was rocking me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a moment that you write, and I want to read this guy. I found this interesting as well. I was warned upon my arrival to prison never to challenge the staff. Whoever holds the key holds the power. I was mortified, shocked, and outraged, but there was nothing I could do about it. Sadly, I eliminated staff members as people I could trust, which included guards, nurses, doctors, and counselors, anyone with a key.
Right.
That's a scary thought.
It is.
Because you just described everybody that's in control of your life.
Right. I'm at the mercy. I'm at the mercy of their interpretation of everything, what they want to do. I remember one time I didn't feel good, and I really, really, really wanted to go to the healthcare center. And I asked my counselor, and he said, well, you should have gone when they were open. I said, but I felt fine during that time. I'm starting to feel bad now. And he said, no. And then I just looked at him. I said, I am really sick. He finally let me go. My blood pressure was up. I came back and I said, I'm so glad you let me go because my blood pressure was off the chart. I couldn't go on social media and complain about him either.
You're right. I was gonna say you were so
That wouldn't have been a good idea.
So who did you lean on, if you will? Did you have friends or anyone that you
Friends?
Right.
Well, first of all, you can be anybody you want in prison.
Okay.
Okay, you know, you could be Donald Trump's ex-wife, you can be the princess of Nigeria, you can be whoever you want to be. I had to lean on my faith.
Okay.
Was the first place I put my ladder.
Okay.
I sought out some people I thought I could trust, and you really can't.
Right.
You have to be very, very careful. So I had to have a perfect tension between, you know, holding an arm's distance and having just fun conversation.
Sure.
And you talk about how you cope, and you're working in the dining area, and your women are coming, and you say, would you like a window seat,
Reserve table.
Reserve table, and, you give them water and say, would you like white wine or red?
Right.
And so it's a way of you coping
Exactly.
and dealing with that. Let's take a break, and we come back. I want to talk about how the book moves from your initial feeling to this positive, inspirational, in your mind, you found a way to continue to find positives in some of these really
That's right.
negative things.
Absolutely.
And we're back. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone. I'm here with Melissa Nieder, the owner of all of the area McDonald's franchises. And, okay, Holly, I'm going to try this again. We're talking to Holly Pasut.
No.
Oh, come on. That was right.
How many times are you going to try? Pasut.
Pasut.
There you
Like
go.
oot
Woo.
on the end.
Yeah.
Pasut.
Okay, here's the problem. Holly is enjoying
The problem?
correcting me. That's the problem with
That's
this.
not a problem. That's just what it's supposed to be. We're trying to help you, Joe.
Holly Pasut, the
Yes.
author of A Strange Path to Freedom.
Yes.
And Holly spent 18 months in a federal prison?
13.
Excuse me for those 5
Right,
extra
don't put me there
Don't
any
put her back
longer,
for 5
please.
more. It probably
Just
felt like
because
13
you can't
years.
say my last name doesn't mean
Well, you
I
don't have to
understand.
go because he doesn't know who the he sent probably Pazat or Pazoot or he sent some other chick, and so you're good.
I'm good.
Melissa, don't encourage her, okay?
Oh, I will. That's my job.
do.
I've only got a few minutes left with
Okay.
you. So, I'm going to use everything I got.
So, Holly,
Yes.
in one of your chapters, you talk about every day was the same day. You knew that Thursday was chicken day, and you talk about that. And I was wondering where you were going to go with that in your book, right? And then you asked the question, are you living your life that same way? Talk a little bit about that, because it sounded like that is the moment when you realized every day is the same, that you don't want that to be the case when you get out.
Right. Well, it doesn't need to be the case, but we become so regimented and disciplined. But it was so funny because every day we had the same lunch, same dinner. It didn't change. Thursday, I think, was chef salad day. But every morning, women would get up and say, we're having salad today. And I'd say, didn't you say that last Thursday? I mean, it's the same thing every single day. And you can fall into a rut, So, coming out of prison, I still have coffee in the morning. I still do certain things. But I look at enjoying each day differently. Like, this is a new day. It's a new day. There's a gospel song. It's a new day. Yeah. And it just makes you happy. Makes you just want to. It's the unknown future that I kind of get excited about.
And you've got a quote in your book that you're not sure who wrote it. Maybe Melissa knows.
We'll see.
Some people live 90 years. Other people live 1 year 90 times.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And I found that kind of interesting.
That is.
Yeah.
Which kind of defines what you're saying, you know.
Right.
So, okay. So now you get out, okay?
Yes,
You're out.
free.
How do you repair your reputation? How do you start to clean this up so people like Joe aren't making fun of you, calling you a convict, right? How do you do that, right? How does that start?
Well, first of all, I don't care because I know who I am and I know who I'm good with. I know who I am and whose I am.
Good for you.
And all the reputation and what people say, like you said earlier, you can't control what the public is going to say about you,
exactly right.
whether they're on social media. And they don't even know me.
Oh, yeah.
So what you read on websites and so forth, newspapers, they're not, you don't know how slanted they are or biased or if it's the real story. So I can't spend my life trying to repair. I'm spending my life renewing, rebuilding, renewing, and having a great time. That's what I'm doing.
And so let's talk about that. So what are you doing now and how can people reach you?
Okay, so what I'm doing now, I'm no longer a real estate broker, obviously. I've asked for something new, and I was inspired to speak. The inspiration came while I was in prison. So I've become I'm a paid to speak speaker, and I go to predominantly white-collar type of industries, mortgage banking, accounting, title companies, and so forth, and it's universities and the inspirational groups. And I talk about how when we make decisions, sometimes they're not always the intellectual decisions, but emotionally we get triggered and we get caught up. And I talk about that because that's pretty much what happened to me.
And it's easy to do.
Oh, yeah, but you have to really think about it. Now, prison was my initiator for change because if nothing changes, ain't nothing changing.
Right.
Right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm speaking. I wrote the book, and that's
so
pretty
if
much
somebody
it.
wanted to get you for a speaking
Okay.
event or the book, how could they do that?
Yeah, they can go on my website. It's freedomspeaker.com is the easiest way to find me.
Freedomspeaker.com.
Yes, and they can buy my book there, or they can go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble eBooks, Kindle. It's pretty much everywhere.
Thank you so much for being on the show. We really do
Thank
appreciate it.
you. Thank you so much.
Melissa, this is your last time as a co-host.
I know.
I
I'm
want
so
you
sad.
to end the show. Go ahead and take us out. You got 30 seconds to end the show. You do it, darling.
Oh, wow. I'm not being put on the spot or anything, but this has been a phenomenal experience. Keep going, doing what you're doing, Joe. This is excellent to be able to see Local Biz Now, to hear local businesses and hear their stories. Keep it real, keep it local.